Hey everybody, this episode was a pain to edit, and the reason is that Audacity decided to shit the bed on me while Gretchen was doing her story. Now, usually that's not a problem because I tend not to talk or interject while the other person is reading their story, but I did say a couple things. We did have a couple jokes that I had to just flat out remove or edit out because you couldn't really hear me. You can kind of hear my voice through Gretchen's side of the audio, but I don't think it affects her story that much because it's a really funny story without me interjecting with like laughs or brief little jokes. But I just wanted to warn you that I kind of go silent when her story's going on, and that you'll kind of hear me here and there through her side of the audio. And I do apologize for the recording snafu. That also means that our outro was kind of cut because it had to be. But all the information that we were saying is going to be in the show notes below. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Funny as fuck, I should do stand-up. Hello and welcome to Impromptu Fiction with Lane and Friends, your new favorite improvisational fiction podcast. My name's Lane, and we'll be getting to our friend in just a moment. I'm already starting here. We'll be getting to our friend in just a moment, but before we do, a quick word from our sponsor. What's this? Sorry, folks, this is the first time in Impromptu Fiction history, but we don't actually have a sponsor tonight. I just have this blood-stained letter, and all it says is, your time has come, time to get flapping. Well, I don't know what that could mean, but I'm sure Archibald Dunlap sends his blessings and regards to us. Now, let's get to the rules to the show before I worry about this upcoming war with the birds here. The rules for Impromptu Fiction are simple. I and a random guest of writers or just friends of mine, we have a prompt that we have to write a short fiction story to. And if I want to throw a real curveball in there, like I did with this episode, I'll give them a style that they have to write their story in. We are not allowed to edit or rewrite anything from our story. We're just keeping them as their rough draft. And once we are both done, we get together and we read them to each other for the first time. And usually a lot of chaos ensues. And speaking of guest writers tonight, or today, I guess this is noon that I'm recording this, we have Gretchen. Gretchen, hi, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
We'll get back to that.
Fair.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your writing background, if any?
Oh, man. I've been dabbling in fiction for a very long time. Did a journalism master's degree, became intensely disillusioned with it, and now I'm working at... Oh, yeah. Now I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but currently working at a mental health clinic here in town and kind of just writing fiction on the side.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for your work. That's some great stuff you're doing there.
Sometimes. I like to think so.
We have to keep telling ourselves that sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry if this episode seems rushed, but some of us have very limited time, and I feel so bad because we've had to push this episode back so many times because of things going on in my life. Whatever. It's okay.
It happens.
Two people listen to this show anyway, so it's okay. I love the two people that listen to this show, but come on, it's only two of you. I'm not gonna break my back for you, Jesus. So, I believe the prompt for us was, congratulations, you're 15, now go into the wastes.
Yes.
And because I didn't think that was a hard enough prompt to begin with, I put in that we have to write it in the style of a really shitty community theater play.
Yes.
And And if for people who've listened to the show so far, you know that I tend to just barely get the style right. And this one was particularly hard for me. I don't know if it was necessarily tricky for you, Gretchen, but
it kind of was, just because I feel like stage is such a visual medium. I was having a rough time, like, translating this into words that made sense, but I have something, and I'm going to read it. So.
Well, that's good, because I'm just going to say, I basically cheated on this one. Mine is very loosely based on community theater.
Wow, whatever.
It's fine. Fuck the rules. Who cares anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been involved with community theater since I was like 16, so having a rough time recalling the...
You have more knowledge of it than I do. My partner worked in community theater for a while, and the way they explained it made it that I never wanted to work there. Because it just sounded like a nightmare.
That's reasonable. They're not wrong, ultimately.
All right, so I will start us off, as I always do, with my story that I have given a really long title to. Smithville Community Theater proudly presents Wasteland Teens, written and directed by Herschel Dupree.
I don't know if mine even has a title at this point.
It's okay. Most of mine didn't have titles, or they would just have the writer that I was doing the show with. It would just be their name and story, so it's okay.
My partner usually titles all of my works because he's better at that than I am.
I gotta get in character here for a second. All right, places, everyone, places. Why can't you all just get into place when I call, huh? Why is that so difficult? Get yourselves together, people. You're community theater actors, not a bunch of animals living on a barn. Well, except for you, Mrs. Tiddlywinks, because, well, you're quite literally a pig from the Vernon farm. Thanks, Farmer Vernon, by the way. Yes, you fucking hick. Oh, nothing, Farmer Vernon, nothing. Now, let's all just take a breather, get relaxed, because we are going to have a lot of work to do before the big show tonight. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself that this is just another dress rehearsal. We've done these a million times. How about we just throw our hands up in the air and call it a night, huh? Just go get some drinks, maybe smoke a marijuana joint, and then get back before curtain opens. Well, joke's on you, fuckers. I completely rewrote the script last night. The play's changing. The play needs a certain, something to attract a new crowd to the theater. I don't think I need to just, boy, I messed that up. I got too into it. It became too real for me. I was on the stage.
That's ideal, though.
Yeah, let's go with that. I don't think I need to tell you just how samey the crowd here has gotten. It's nothing but the elderly or the stuck-up rich. We have no soul out there. No one that can truly connect to the stories we're trying to tell, the performances we're trying to sell. Did you know we had 3 deaths in the audience last week? 3! And at the rate that we're going, there's going to be a hell of a lot more in the coming weeks. The old is, well, old. And we need something hip, something new to bring the crowds in that we really need. Teens. Teens are fresh, teens are in, and teens hate community theater. They'd rather go to a proper stage to see proper plays done by actors who are actually paid a living wage. They don't want to come down here to the boonies, as it were, to watch some slack-jawed yokels trying their best to slur together words between sips of moonshine and bites of jerky. No offense. Actually, you know what? All the offense. I hate each and every one of you. You have to be the worst actors I've worked with, which is saying something, because I have literally worked with corpses. Don't ask. You know what? Screw all of this. Screw you all. You're fired. Yes. Yes, I know you aren't being paid, so this isn't technically a job, but you're still fired. In order for this to work, I can't work with you. You get my meaning? This will be the last community theater Herschel Dupree will have to work in, rest assured. This play will get me up to the big leagues. Just you wait and see. So get out of here. Get! Greetings. I'm the narrator of this story. Oh, you didn't think there would be a narrator, did you? Of course there was going to be one, you idiot. Anyway, the actors begin leaving in droves, angry at Herschel Dupree and his sudden change of plans. The community theater director did not care one bit, not one jot, as his crew soon followed the actors. No lighting, no sound, no music. Tonight's performance of Wasteland Teens would go on with just Mr. Dupree and only Mr. Dupree. Now, let's tune back in, halfway during the play to see how things are going. See, this is how I cheated. I just decided I was going to pick and choose how the play went. This sucks. Like, how am I totally supposed to survive out here? I'm a 15-year-old teen with nothing but a bag, the clothes on my body, and a water pan. As if, am I right? Where's my magazines? Where's my phone? Where are my sexy celebrity gossip rags? Huh? He gets what I'm talking about, the old man having a heart attack in the middle of my play. Get him out of here. I mean, like, get him out of here. Old people are totes gross and have no place in the wasteland. God. Old people, am I right? Just waiting to die while us fresh, hot teens are ready to go to explore, to enjoy life to its fullest. Just as soon as I get my organic soy latte, though, am I right? Doesn't seem like it's going very well at all. In fact, some of the younger people listening to this tale might find all of this to be rather pandering. I mean, honestly, if you were a teenager living in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, I don't think your concerns would revolve around magazines and lattes. Needless to say, the audience was floored, and not in the way that Mr. Dupree was hoping. Let's just fast forward a bit further into the play, when we meet the villain of this performance. Foolish teen, silly teen, you thought you could survive out here in the wastes? These harsh, barren lands weren't meant for young ones like you. There's no jacuzzi and boy bands out here. Just the harsh reality that nothing matters. Nothing. It doesn't matter that you went to theater school for 10 years. Doesn't matter that you did an amazing one-man performance of the hit musical Cats. You'll still end up directing community theater in a town in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. So go back, run while you can, never age, never! What happened next was 85 minutes of a terribly planned diatribe that spoke on the pointlessness of following one's dreams, followed by another 20 minutes of crying, which one reviewer called the purest part of the play, hands down. After the crippling depression left him, Herschel Dupree attempted the epic fight scene on page 4750 in the script. It was a rather stunning event where Mr. Dupree placed sock puppets on his hand, each with their own set of googly eyes. Mr. Dupree would stand before the 5 people left in the theater and proceed to smash his sock puppets together, making gunshot noises and laser sword slashes. Another reviewer, this one being the homeless man living underneath the Quiznos on the 40, had said that this was the rawest, most brutal fight he had ever seen since Bobby O'Tail stole Mr. Gibbons' baguette 3 years ago. The show ended with the, teen of the wasteland going back to their home to live the rest of their days in comfort and blissful ignorance, which left many youth in the audience angry, demanding a refund as well as an apology from the cynical, rude director of what had to be the worst play since the sequel to The Phantom of the Opera. That was my little gunshot to Mr. Andrew Lloyd Webber, if you're listening. Mr. Herschel Dupree was nowhere to be found that night. Legends say that every now and then he'll pop up in other community theaters, trying to peddle his new teenage wasteland story. No other theater has allowed him to play since. The end. Ooh. Thank you. I had to work with what I had, and what I have is usually very little. Well, before we get to your story, I guess there's going to be a brief word from our sponsor. To my beloved Prudence. Hello, this is Archibald Dirigible Dunlap. You may remember me as your husband. You may also remember me as the only human brave enough to fight against our avian enemies. I am usually a proud man, my dear Prudence, but I cannot hold it in any longer. I miss you, more than I miss money, more than I miss the one-legged, one-eyed cat we kept in the garage. You are simply a part of me, a part that I need so badly. The war has been hell on me, Prudence. I am now locked away in a local grocery store, hiding out in the sweets aisle. When I look upon the boxes of Snickers Smacks and Creamy Fingers, I think about you and that sweet ass of yours. Sorry for my crudeness. The war has changed me. I have desires, my precious Prudence, and you're the only man who can satisfy them. So please, send me nudes. Your thick, bodacious body will warm me for many a night. I promise not to show them to my friends, not like last time. Come on, buckaroo, give your husband a dick pic, one solitary sausage greeting card. Seriously, I'm dying over here, and your pork is the only thing that can quench my unending hunger. I must leave now. The birds have found their way in. They've changed in the past 2 hours since I declared war on them. Now they look like regular police officers, the tricky bastards. Oh well, gotta get back to killing birds. Can't wait to have a phone filled with your naked body. Love you. Oh, and smack that ass for me, would you? Forever yours, until I find a bigger one, Archibald Dirigible Dunlap. All right, Gretchen, are you ready to read your story to us?
Yeah, all right. Let's do it. Warning, mine is way more like traditional theater script than yours was also. Go Out into the Wastes, a play in 5 acts. They're short acts, don't worry. Dramatis personae, aka the cast of characters. Ember. Yeah. I did. This is some professional quality shit. I just want everyone to appreciate that.
And you're so humble.
That is not a thing that I've ever been called. All right. Ember, a chubby 15-year-old girl with dark brown skin and very short, tightly coiled hair. Briar, a muscular 15-year-old non-binary person, although now that I'm saying this, I'm having a hard time picturing a muscular 15-year-old of any gender, but whatevs, we'll roll with it.
You know what they're putting in the milk these days.
Yeah, I suppose. All right. With brown skin and short hair dyed teal, missing several fingers on their left hand. And I'm pretty sure the number varies throughout. There's some continuity issues here, but...
Oh no.
Nocturne.
The sanctity of this show.
Oh no, I know. My professional reputation is deteriorating rapidly. Nocturne, a short 15-year-old non-binary person, probably quite pale, but right now very sunburned, with short red hair and freckles. Rowan, a skinny 15-year-old boy with light brown skin and short black hair, trying and failing to grow a bit of a beard. Malice, the first and oldest of the triumvirate of elders. A non-binary person well into their 80s, with brown skin, long hair that's more gray than black, and a contraption of metal and leather in place of their missing leg.
Nice.
Drama. Nyx, the second of the triumvirate of elders, a woman in her mid-70s, very pale, with very fine white hair, and missing most of her teeth, as I assume most post-apocalyptic folks are. Minerva, Nyx's wife, a woman in her mid-70s with warm beige skin and short hair that she dyes a new color every time she gets the chance. It's currently hella fucking pink. Ash, the third and youngest of the triumvirate of elders, a man of nearly 70. He has dark brown skin and long dreadlocks and lots of scars crisscrossing most of his visible skin. Auden, Ash's first partner, a non-binary person in their mid-60s, quite tall, with brown skin and short blonde hair. And Scylla, Ash's second partner, a woman in her mid-60s with very brown skin and a large cloud-like gray afro. All right. Cast of characters, done. Act 1, Scene 1. The town of Alluvia, nestled deep in what used to be a forest. The walls are high, the buildings are short and squat and made of metal and concrete, and the surrounding land is scorched. Within the village, there are bits of green, a potted cactus here in the window, a few rows of corn or something growing near one of the fences, and a tall oak tree in the village square. No one could tell you how it survived, but that's gotta be a good omen, right? A small room lit by a firelight from candles and an actual proper fire that's probably too big for the space, but hey, the room is well ventilated and we've all got that one friend that loves to carry on feeding bonfires even though they're getting too big and too hot. A group of 4 children sits in a semicircle around the fire, but they're 15 and they'd probably balk at being called children. They're outfitted in plain clothing, shapeless beige tunics, brown leggings made of what might be leather, and shoes that aren't even worth describing. They're waiting. Ember, nearly vibrating with excitement. Should we start making a plan? I mean, I know we don't have maps or anything, but my brother told me a little bit about what it's like out there and where things are, and I just want to make sure that we're prepared, like actually and properly prepared, because remember there was that one group last year sometime that got lost, and like everybody had to go out looking for them, and they were holed up somewhere that was just like 5 miles out or whatever, and wouldn't that be so embarrassing? Briar, long-suffering, but clearly at the end of their rope. Relax, we won't get lost. I'm an excellent finder. Nocturne. Excellent finder. Ha! You couldn't even find your way away from that ferocious beast that ate your fingers. Ferocious beast is in like 3 sets of quotation marks.
Oh, so you know it's like a fucking cat.
It's like a fucking cat. Yeah, it's something like that. Briar, sputtering. That's different. That was years ago, and that beast was the size of a... Rowan, talking over them. That beast was probably one of Old Man Oaker's little companion dogs. Briar, more loudly. No, I swear on my mother's grave. Nocturne, your mother's still alive, you loon. Briar, it was huge. Ember, dubiously. As big as one of Old Man Oaker's Labradors, maybe? Briar. It was that fucking thing itself, I swear on my... Rowan. It has a name, you know, and it isn't magical. You can't just summon this fucking man-eating... Nocturne punches him punches him good-naturedly, but not quite gently. Person-eating, you mean... Briar, at the same time. No one even knows how to pronounce its name. I mean, I've never heard it said the same way twice. What sort of name is Kafifi? And this is why you don't put topical jokes in your work, like, ever, because I swear this was funny when I wrote it. But it doesn't age well. It just doesn't age well.
Hey, kids, remember Kafefi?
Kafefi. I still don't know how to pronounce it.
It's okay, neither did he.
Nobody did.
Man, we're going to have so many reviews on this episode being like, the leftist liberal agenda is coming after my podcast.
I mean...
Especially with all the non-binary characters you have in there. Oh my god.
Sorry, not sorry.
Just a couple of SJWs up in there.
I'm sorry, I like to write characters that I identify with in my stories. Anyone who has a problem with it can come fight me.
You can find Gretchen at 1417 West End Street.
A playful argument erupts between the four of them, and they all shout over each other, getting louder and louder until someone bangs on the tin wall of the building they're in. Voice outside, jokingly. You kids keep it down in there. This is supposed to be a time for introspection and serious discussion, not yelling about Wasteland cryptids. Briar, louder than is strictly necessary. I saw it, though. They don't believe me. Voice. Introspection and serious discussion. Seriously, though, it's like 4 a.m. I understand if you all can't sleep, but I finally got the baby down. And if you wake them, I'll come in there and kick all your asses. I swear on the trees and the crops and the weeds. The kids groan and turn back towards each other, making faces, but keeping quiet. Ember pokes at the fire with a stick, and the lights fade out. Act 1, Scene 2. A small circular meeting room with a large circular table that takes up most of the space. The walls are draped with fabrics of all colors and textures, some quite old, others looking brand new. There are no windows, and the room is lit with candles and oil lamps, which I would not recommend, because that sounds like fire hazard.
What are these teens doing?
It's the post-apocalypse. They don't have electricity anymore.
Goddamn teens always burning things down.
But these aren't the teens, see? 3 old folks sit next to each other at the table. They used to sit in a triangular formation so that they could make proper eye contact while they talked without having to awkwardly crane their necks, but now they're old, and their hearing isn't great, and they've all known each other for decades, and they're all familiar with each other's body language anyway, so the eye contact thing just isn't a big deal anymore. This is the triumvirate of elders. Ash, his chair leaned back on 2 legs, stroking a patch of velvety fabric. Just 4 this time, eh, Nix? Nix bent over a tattered reporter's notebook, a purple pen in her arthritic fingers. 4 is a good number, though. Enough to keep them safe from most of the feral shit, but not so many that they'll feel comfortable wandering too deep into any of the red zones. Malice, a screwdriver in their hand, squinting at the gears of their mechanical leg. Plus, there was that one quarter a couple of years ago with like 25 of them, right? And they came back -3 because they just hadn't noticed that they'd gone missing, and it took us like a week and a half to find those little shits holed up in that burned-out gas station. Nix. Better than that quarter where they all wandered into the middle of the red zone. They came back with so many fucking questions that nobody has any of the answers for. Ash, yawning, tipping his chair back on all 4 legs, reaching out to smooth his fingers over a terribly worn scrap of silk. Yeah, whatever. Nix, love, send for your wife and have her bring us some coffee, huh? I'm too old to be up this late, or this early, whatever the fuck it is. Nix opens her mouth to reply, probably to tell him to fuck off, but Malice beats her to it. Malice, why doesn't your wife sit with us, Nix? Or either, or both of your partners, eh, Ash? We might be able to use more... Nix, are you serious, Mal? We're the triumvirate. You've always called us the triumvirate. Doesn't that mean 3, right? No more, no less? Malice, I mean, we started out as a triumvirate, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay a triumvirate, especially since you've both got partners. Ash, are you fucking kidding me, Mal? This whole time, you would have been cool with Minerva and Auden and Scylla sitting in? Malice, we're the original 3, but not the only 3. Nix, shit, Mal, really? Really? You mean to tell me this job could have been like half the work or less? Malice, well, neither of you ever asked. Ash, you never offered. Malice, I'm not in charge, per se. They bicker good-naturedly for a bit before Ash rolls his eyes and concedes. Well, I suppose, what would we have called ourselves if we welcomed our loves in? The quadumvirate? Quintumvirate? Malice, out of breath. The council? The elders? Nyx, checking her watch, absent-mindedly flicking the face of it. That doesn't sound as cool. We need to go meet the kiddos. It's getting close to sunrise, and we've got to wake them. Malice, do you really think they're sleeping? They never sleep. Nyx, right, well, we need to gather them anyway, and herd them and everybody else to the town square. Ash, Nyx, we've been doing this for decades. Everyone knows how it goes. Nyx, and yet no one's ever on schedule. Malice, the world ended. Who cares about getting everyone to the square at exactly 5 a.m.? Ash, in a high falsetto, mimicking Nyx. This is what separates us from all of those Mad Max motherfuckers out there. Nyx, with great dignity, refusing to take the bait. Well, this and, some of the obvious, human rights and socialist democratic governmental structure kind of shit. Ash, but are those integral to our survival? They certainly aren't as integral as punctuality in the face of this unending post-apocalyptic hellscape.
What a dick!
Lights fade out on them bickering. Act 2, Scene 1. The town square, still dark, but beginning to lighten. Many of the townsfolk are gathered in a circle. Attendance isn't compulsory, but plenty of people show up anyway to offer advice or directions or moral support. The attendees are eclectically dressed. There are people of all genders in bespoke three-piece suits or drapey black and brown cowls and faux-wrapped leggings and arm coverings, or the standard post-apocalyptic leather and chainmail. The more unusual, notably dressed folks include a handful of people in cosplay getup, including 2 different Wonder Women, a guy in a gas mask, and a woman in a pale pink full ball gown. This is not practical post-apocalyptic fashion. Oh my god.
No, but it's okay.
What was I thinking? The kids and their families are near the front of the crowd, under the oak tree proper. Ember, Nocturne, Rowan, and Briar stand with their arms linked, chattering excitedly at one another. Nyx, Ash, and Malice make their way back towards the center of the crowd, standing so that the rising sun will be at their backs. Nyx is sensibly dressed in a red flannel button-down, jeans, and well-worn brown boots. Ash broke out his low-key steampunk apparel for the occasion, and Malice wears a sweeping wine-red cloak over leather leggings and a black button-up. If you asked, they'd probably admit that this was a bit ridiculous, but then again, that was kind of the point. Malice, to the crowd, are we ready to get going? Voice, from the back, show them the map. Malice, have you all given them your best advice? Told them what to prioritize and what not to bother with? Voices, the map, the map. Malice, teasingly, there's more than one map. Groans from the crowd. Nyx and Ash roll their eyes. The decades haven't diminished Malice's dramatic flair. Finally, Malice fishes the map out of a pocket of their cloak and smooths it out, offering it to the foursome. The crowd falls almost eerily silent. This is a strong and binding tradition, constantly evolving and becoming less structured and more well-loved amongst the townsfolk. There's something comforting about it, about the knowledge that even though the world has ended, or perhaps because of it, they can all carry on crafting and reinventing themselves as they please. Malice, to the foursome, pointing at the map and squinting. You'll definitely want to go here. No, wait, here. I think there'll be plenty of fun fabrics and some neat patterns, if I remember correctly. It's not like the other towns around here will have picked it over, at all. I mean, if there's one thing those Mad Max assholes have going for them over the rest of us who opted for civilization, it's that they at least committed to some sort of aesthetic. Nyx, to Ash, in a whisper, the kinky post-apocalyptic bondage gear aesthetic? Ash, with a shrug and a smirk. I mean, I'm kind of into it.
Hell yeah.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
Without turning away from the map, Malice swats at them ineffectually. You shouldn't have any problem with those guys anyway. They're probably still mid-spring. That doesn't make any sense. They're probably still in the midst of their mid-spring migration and won't actually be back for another few weeks. And if you run into anyone from any of the neighboring towns, just tell them we say hi. The foursome leans closer, also squinting at the map, which wasn't terribly clear to begin with, and is now nearly 50 years old. The ink is smudged. It's been traced and retraced and scribbled out, and there are modifications showing where safe pathways are, where stores are too picked over to be of any use, and where people have seen the local cryptids. Malice, squinting more closely at a tangled mess of faded ink. Remember, you'll get to edit the map when you get home, so make note of anything interesting while you're out there. Now let's see, what else? Rowan, pointing at a red square near the edge of the map. There? Malice. Oh, that's an old department store. They might have some good base pieces if you're into that sort of scavenger chic look. Nocturne, pointing at a purple circle in the top left. Here? Nah, that's just a cryptid sighting, or a potential cryptid sighting. It's hard to say when you're out there on your own, you know? Every rustle in the bushes is some monster coming out to eat your eyeballs out of your skull or something. You kiddos are so panicky. Back in my day, Nix cuts him off. Back in our day, Malice, you were spooked of everything. Because of you, we ran out of bullets a decade earlier than we should have. Oh, no. Malice puts their hand to their chest, feigning offense, mouth open for a witty retort. Briar interrupts, pointing at a smudged word written in green. Did someone see Kafifi there? And while we're at it, what the fuck kind of name is that anyway? Ash, smirking. Think it's a transcription error. Malice, at the same time. Everyone who needs to know already knows what it means. Nix interrupts, pointing at some black hatch marks in the center of the map. These were made by last quarter's cohort. They say there are a distressing number of very large rodents there, and that the picked-over goods weren't worth the trouble. But it's spring now, so the rodents might have moved on, so really it's up to you whether or not to hit that place up. Other cohorts have found some good shit there. That might actually be where Marnie nabbed her ball gown, so if you're into that dramatic sort of evening wear post-apocalypse look. The crowd presses... What?
As we all should be.
I mean, obviously. The crowd presses closer up against their backs, all trying to get a good look at the map to see how it's changed since their own journeys. For most of them, it's only become more indecipherable, and each silently affirms that their own maps and sketches are far superior to this tattered disaster of an heirloom. Everyone peers over it for a few more moments, all talking at once about strategies and must-hit places and where the shifting borders of the red zone currently are, and then Malice dramatically shakes the map and stows it back in their pocket. Well, happy early, or belated, 15th birthday to you all. Now, go out into the wastes. Curtain down.
She did it!
Hey! I had to. Curtain down as the foursome exit through the city gates. Act 3, Scene 1. This is longer than I remember. Wow. All right. Rowan, Nocturne, Ember, and Briar, trudging along a dusty path through the forest that surrounds their town. Nocturne is struggling with her sweater, while Ember looks on with a mix of amusement and pity. Ember, we're nearly there, love. What are you doing? Nocturne, we're not nearly there. Don't you lie to me. Shit, I'm so fucking sunburned. Ember, how? We haven't been out for an hour. Nocturne, no. This happened a few days ago while I was pulling weeds from the garden. Ember, leave your sweater off. Nocturne, the sun hurts though, Em. Lights fade out, curtain up. Act 3, Scene 2. The triumvirate, back in their circular room with the fabric walls, all nursing cups of coffee. Malice. Think any of them will go for capes this quarter? Nix. You and your fucking capes, Mal. I mean, really. Malice. Come on, capes are great. You know how exciting it was for me when I found this one intact? Ash. We all know, Mal, for the love of all that's... Malice, as if they hadn't even heard him. And maybe they didn't, who knows. And I can wear it without judgment. What a time to be alive. Nix. Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say that you wear it without judgment. Ash, at the same time. The world ended, Mal. Malice, grinning and gesturing vaguely. The world didn't end, per se. It's just, you know. Nix, waiting a beat to see whether Malice intends on finishing their thought. I mean, I guess it is nice to be able to wear whatever I want and not have to worry about being able to afford it or having people think that I'm too old for it. Ash, too old for the outdoorsy butch lesbian aesthetic? Nix, people loved to police what women wore. Ash, you ass. Especially old women. Well, maybe not especially, but you know what I mean. Ash, fiddling with the end of his dreadlocks. Believe you me, love, I know how much people like to police what other people wore. Malice, oh gods. It's so hard to find clothes before. Everything was so boring, and I swear nobody cared about their aesthetic. Nix, you're just weird, Mal. You and your cloaks and your leather and your casual bits of armor. Malice, looking away with a bit of forced casualness. Yeah, but, like, the world ended, and I finally got to be myself, you know? I mean, before, I wasn't a woman, and I didn't really go for dresses or for anything form-fitting, but, like, I knew I wasn't a man, and I remember being almost offended by, like, that masculine androgynous stuff, and then the world ended, and I found the cloak, and I found you losers, and we made this place, and that was the end of it, or the beginning, or, you know, whatever. It's just nice to be able to construct myself exactly as I want to be. This seems kind of silly sometimes. Like, maybe it is, but it's not really meant to be a dreadfully serious thing. But sending them out there, like, I think they learn something about themselves. They get a chance to really explore, with no pressure, who they are and who they want to be. There's a moment of respectful silence. Nix and Ash nodding in agreement. Nix sighs heavily. Ash, in a deliberate play to lighten the mood. Plus, it gives them a chance to try and find the local cryptid. That's an invaluable part of any coming-of-age ritual, right? Nix, with a snort. Fucking Kofifi, I can't believe that of all the post-apocalyptic survival partners I could have gotten stuck with, I ended up with you idiots, and you're fucking Kofifi. Malice discreetly wipes their eyes dry. Nix and Ash pretend not to notice. Lights fade out.
That was touching.
Thank you.
Gretchen, I don't mean to do this halfway through, but you failed the style. This was supposed to be shitty community theater, not theater that moved me.
Well, it's still pretty shitty, don't worry. You haven't heard how it ends yet. Don't start enjoying it too much. What? It's not...
Okay, alright, no, I'll stop my enjoyment.
It's not that bad. It could be worse. Could be a lot worse. Nobody dies, I'll tell you that right now. I'm not here for that shit.
Damn it.
Act 3, Scene 3. A fabric store. Briar is carefully comparing bolts of soft black. Ember is leafing through patterns. Rowan is on his hands and knees trying to find a final matching button, and Nocturne is wandering aimlessly. Briar. Knock, can't you sew? Nocturne. Nah, it's just my dad and me. He never really learned, and I never asked anybody else. Besides, I favor the scavenger chic look with all those layers and shit. Rowan. Muffled from halfway under a shelf. If I can't find this fucking button, I'm going this scavenger chic route too. Or something. It's these buttons or nothing, I swear to God. Ember. I think I'm gonna go the cape route. Minimal sewing. Basically just a square of fabric tied around my shoulders, right? Like maybe a bit of a hem? Briar. Do you also not know how to sew? Kids these days. Ember. No, I know. It's just that I can't sit still that damn long. Briar. I've always kind of liked the routine of it, honestly. Rowan. Still half under the shelf. Nocturne. If you aren't doing anything, can you help me find this goddamn button? Ember and Brian look at them. They grin, press a finger to their lips, and hold up a plastic sleeve with 3 of Rowan's buttons in it. Briar, rolling his eyes. If you assholes hurry up, we can take the long way home and go cryptid hunting. Ember. I love that you never say its name. Nocturne. Yeah, well if it... Oh no, this is continuity error. Shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I just mixed up the names. Yeah, well if it bit your damn finger... Oh no, yeah, it bit your damn fingers off and you can't even say its name? Briar, sputtering. I'm not gonna make an ass of myself trying to pronounce that name. It's stupid. What the fuck kind of name? Ember. Did you see the triumvirate when I asked about it? There's something weird going on there, I guarantee. Rowan now moved on to digging through piles of junk scattered about. The triumvirate wouldn't lie to us, Ember. Well, no, not lie, per se, but I don't know. They're human. I wouldn't put it past them to fuck with us for their own amusement, you know? For shits and giggles, as they say. Briar, to no one in particular. So what bit my fingers off then, if not that fucker? Nocturne. So do you want to go looking for it? What? To, like, prove that it does exist, or that it doesn't, or whatever? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just a story that our parents tell to keep us from wandering around in the wastes with our friends, scavenging for trouble, yeah? Briar. But my fingers. Ember flips them off, and they respond in kind. A loud clanging noise as Rowan accidentally trips over a shelf. The foursome jump and laugh, and Nocturne gives up and throws Rowan the pack of buttons. Rowan responds by throwing a large spool of yarn at their head, which they dodge effortlessly, still laughing. Lights fade out, curtain down. Act 4, Scene 1. Curtain up on the foursome. In the lobby of a department store, all staring into its depths at the shelves illuminated by the skylights. Ember. What way should we go? Are those canned goods over yonder? Anyone want a snack? Briar. There's no way those are safe to eat. Nocturne. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Briar. The only thing you're gonna gain is botulism. Nocturne. They're canned goods. They keep forever. Briar. Look at how swollen some of them are. That means botulism. Rowan.
Good old botulism.
Good old botulism. Rowan. Briar's such a know-it-all. Briar. If being a know-it-all means not dying of botulism. Ember. Fine. Let's go see what we can find for fabrics and shit. I think I want some nice satin trim or something for this fabulous fucking cape that I'm envisioning. Rowan. Back home it seemed like you had a proper plan, or at least you wanted a proper plan, but now it's just this half-assed nonsense. Ember. Feigning offense. I have a plan. It's just... The other three stare expectantly at her while she flounders. Briar. Harder than you were expecting? Ember. No, I just wanted to make sure that we had a chance to hit all of the places that we wanted to. I'm still finding myself, and I don't want to peak now as a 15-year-old. I need to build towards something. Nocturne. Towards what? Ember. You'll see. I'll figure it out. Do caterpillars enter their cocoons knowing that they're going to be turned into organic goo and then necromanced into beautiful butterflies? No. Well, I mean, probably not. They just, go with the flow, and they end up being fabulous. The others make various noises of disbelief, and she reaches out to shove Rowan, who's closest to her. Ember. I just don't want to be like Eden, remember? They came back from the wastes in that fabulous dress made out of that shiny metallic-y shit, and that shawl, and those shoes. Oh my gods. And then they went, and they switched to the standard boots and cowl, and meanwhile, Malice just keeps getting better and better every year. Briar. To be fair... Eden's getup was not at all practical, and Malice doesn't really go out anymore, so they can kind of just, hang out and be dramatic, right? Ember. Oh, fuck off, you're all the worst. Nocturne. I don't know why we're all taking this so seriously anyway. I mean, everybody knows that everyone regrets their first shot at an aesthetic. Briar. I mean, Marnie's still got that ball gown thing going on, 10 years later. Nocturne, with good-natured mockery. And you think that's not regrettable? Rowan. At least it's interesting. I mean, not like all of the three-piece suits that have been in vogue for a decade now, and how is that even practical? Briar. Can you even remember back a decade? Rowan. I just mean that they're so popular, and I just don't get it. Ember. What? I love the suits. Briar. So find one. Ember. No, I'm building, remember? Briar. So build. Wear a cape over a suit. Live a little, even though that sounds nightmarish. I mean, you'd have no range of motion in your arms. Ember. Might be worth it. Rowan. No, we have to come back with something interesting. No half-assing this. Nocturne. I mean, we could half-ass it. There's nothing saying we can't. Rowan. Who does that? Apathy isn't a good aesthetic. Ember. Ah, fuck. We've got to figure out how to accommodate weapons. Rowan. Not for another couple years, but now that you mention it, I strongly favor the razor wire wrapped baseball bat. Briar. That's... Briar. That's so gauche. Oh my gods. It's spears or nothing. Nocturne. Are you gonna, make your own spear out of a stick and a rock that you sharpened yourself? The world didn't end that long ago. There are still plenty of serviceable crowbars and axes and hammers, and that shit is useful beyond weapons. Ember. I want to find a nice, graceful sword. Rowan, you, graceful? Ha! She shoves him, again, harder this time, and he stumbles, laughing. Lights fade out. Act 4, Scene 2. The Triumvirate, plus Minerva and Auden and Scylla, still in that circular room. Nyx and Minerva are bent over Nyx's notebooks. Malice and Auden are tinkering with Malice's mechanical leg, and Ash and Scylla are sharing a plate of stir-fried chicken and vegetables and playfully poking at each other with their forks. Minerva, stretching and rolling her shoulders. Gods, I really miss electricity sometimes. Like, how do you get any work done in here? It's so dark. And all of these fucking open flames are such a fire hazard. I mean, really, Nyx, I've never worried about you coming to work before, but I'm thinking now that with your less than steady hands and your garbage fucking eyesight... Nyx, hey now. Ash, man, the good old days of electricity. Malice, oh, come on, man. I know we aren't going to have a conversation about the good old days. Ash, but Netflix and Hulu. Scylla, kids these days don't even know what a Netflix and chill is. Auden. Auden, laughing. Do the kids these days have a Netflix and chill analog? Ash, scavenging and chill? Scylla, let's go check out that abandoned, burned-out apartment complex and chill? Nyx, snorting and chill. Scylla, the chill part is very important. Malice, gods, I don't miss that. What? Oh, whoa. Ash, you don't miss the Netflix and chill? Malice, laughing. Nah, I don't do the sex and romance nonsense. You all know that. Minerva, know what I miss? Nyx, politicians, taxes, Twitter? I'm sorry, Minerva, know what I don't miss? Nyx, politicians, taxes, Twitter? Minerva, well, I mean, yeah, but I was thinking more along the lines of things that didn't impact my quality of life or my peace of mind as a bisexual half-Vietnamese woman. Malice, ooh, I like this game. Minerva, I don't miss IPAs. Scylla, the beer? Minerva, yeah, I mean, if I wanted the taste of pine sap to linger in my mouth for like 3 hours, I'd go lick the spruce tree in my backyard and it wouldn't cost me $8. Nyx.
Yes.
Nyx, breathless with laughter. Splinters, though. Minerva. Yeah, but, like, it's the same flavor for free. Malice, also breathless with laughter. I miss my phone, but I don't miss the notifications. I think I had a Words with Friends notification for shit, like it might have been, like, 3 years after I lost interest in that game. Auden. And Facebook. Becky shared a photo. Dave updated his status. You last updated your status 11 weeks ago. Yeah, thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. That was intentional. Ash, wheezing. Gods, you geezers. You know you can turn those off, right? Auden. And you didn't fucking tell me that 40 years ago? Scylla. My parents used to just, like, pop in without calling. Remember, Ash? Ash. Oh, shit, yeah. Malice, at the same time. I had a friend who would do that. Like, how do you know I'm not sitting on the couch in my underwear watching reruns of some MTV reality show? Ash, Scylla's parents definitely almost walked in on us in a compromising position. That was pre-you, Auden. Thank heavens, what the fuck? Malice, suddenly very serious. I'm glad that this road led to all of you, though. There's no one else that I'd rather witness the end and the beginning of the world with. Minerva, same, honestly. Noises of assent from all, except Nyx, whom they look at expectantly. She stares back, wide-eyed, with feigned innocence. Minerva, prompting, and only half-joking. Nyx, love, you know you can... Nyx cuts her off. Ick, never. You've got to be hard to survive in the waste. You've got to be tough. You can't show any weakness. You've got to eat other people for breakfast. They all laugh. Nyx, also laughing and gesturing wildly. No, I mean it. It's survival of the fittest out there, and the fittest clearly means being the biggest, most violent alpha male lone wolf motherfucker, not like normal and reasonable people with complementary skill sets who band together in the face of adversity. Ash. True. The world ended. Basic human decency and survival instincts were supposed to go along with it, right? Nyx, still laughing a bit, reaching over to kiss Minerva's cheeks. Right. But, really, I am glad it was all of you. I mean, I guess if I absolutely had to survive the apocalypse, like, might as well be with you guys. Fade out and curtain down on their companionable silence.
Aw. I like this post-apocalypse.
Thank you.
It's nice.
I was trying for some camaraderie. Act 4, Scene 3, The Foursome, walking in front of the curtain, all with their arms full of fabrics and loose and bits and bobs and odds and ends. Briar is in the lead, striding purposefully forward. Rowan, holding out a bolt of deep purple velvet. Bri, I don't suppose you could take this for me, could you? Briar, it's a little gauche for me, but if you don't want it. Rowan, no, I mean carry it. Briar, laughing, and why would I do that? Rowan, you're so muscular. Briar, I'm -3 fingers, you ass. Rowan, that doesn't diminish the size of your biceps. Briar, no, the rules are quite clear. It's only what you, personally, can carry for your own self. Rowan, that's not fair. Briar, plus, I need my hands free so I can bring Kofifi home when we come across it. Scoffs from the other three. Ember, incredulously. When Briar interrupts. It's out there. Nocturne, we are not deviating from the path to find it, though. Rowan, yeah, it's almost sundown. We need to, start heading home properly. Briar, we are heading home. Well, home-ish, at least. Don't worry about it. I know where I'm going. Lights fade out. One thing I've learned from my father is that you never trust anyone who says they know where they're going.
Exactly.
Act 5, Scene 1. The room with the cloth-draped walls. The triumvirate and their loves still hanging out, still drinking coffee. Ash is wandering around, poking at the fabrics. Minerva is leaning against Nyx, head on her shoulder, probably asleep. Since the room is windowless, Nyx keeps checking her watch. Nyx, it's nearly sunset. They should be back soon. Malice, we should get a runner or something to tell us when they're getting close. Someone with good eyesight. Nyx, you've said that the last 12 times, and yet you failed to assign. Malice interrupts. Well, it's not exclusively my responsibility. There's a loud, rattling clang as Ash accidentally pulls something free from the wall. They all jump. Ash, oops, shit, ooh, chainmail. Scylla, love, I could make you a bikini. Scylla fixes him with a withering glare. Ash, come on, I'm sure it won't chafe too badly. Auden, back me up. Auden laughs and shakes their head, holding their hands up in a universal I'm staying out of this sort of gesture. Scylla, tugging meaningfully at the scarf around her neck. I will strangle you in your sleep, my darling. Lights fade out. Act 5, Scene 2, The Foursome, struggling through some thick, shrubby underbrush, getting hopelessly tangled in briars. Nocturne, Bri, you motherfucker. Briar, shh, I think I heard something rustling. Rowan, trying to gently untangle a bolt of pale blue fabric without tearing it. Yeah, it was probably one of us, you complete and total ass. How could you do this? Ember, how could we all be dumb enough to follow him? Briar, it's out there. I know it. Nocturne, eyes gleaming. You know, I didn't really want to do this, but you want to know what I know? I know, Briar, that you lost your fingers in a wood chopping accident.
What?
Briar, in a distressingly high voice. What? Who told you? Nocturne, Old Man Ochre said that you were helping him get ready for the winter. Briar, sputtering. He swore he'd never tell anyone. He swore! Nocturne, laughing. What kind of stupid mistake? Ember looks on in amusement as the two of them argue. Rowan has given up on gently detangling his fabric and has started yanking on it furiously, nearly dropping the rest of his haul. Rowan, unbelievable. At least we can add this disastrous fucking thicket to that nonsense on the map so that nobody else has to suffer for this bullshit wasteland cryptid fairy tale thing. Briar, it's out there. Nocturne, why are you so hung up on this? You lost your fingers to an axe swung by a blind old man. This isn't some wild revenge story anymore. I don't even know if it was a wild revenge story to begin with. Briar, you aren't intrigued after there have been so many sightings? Ember, not by anyone reliable, though. Rowan, you heard Nyx and Malice say that people out here spook easily and everybody's already on edge. Nocturne, for real though, Bri. Like, what if we were to run into something proper scary? We aren't well armed, or anything, and I'm definitely no good in a fistfight. Briar, I thought there wasn't anything out here, and here you're planning for some sort of fight? Nocturne, I mean, there's no Kafifi out here, but all of those sightings might mean something. I mean, we don't know well enough to be taking these dumb chances. They stand and argue, oblivious to the rustling that seems to be creeping closer to them in the thicket behind. They remain oblivious until it's nearly on top of them, at which point Ember holds up a hand to quiet the rest of them. Ember, pointing shakily at the bushes. What the hell is that? There's a brief scuffle in which Briar ends up getting shoved nearest to the source of the noise. They whip around with a silent look of betrayal before reaching their hand tentatively towards the bushes. Rowan, are you trying to lose all of your fingers, Bri? Briar, I'm hoping that whatever the fuck it is big enough to just, like, eat me and put me out of my misery already, you fucking... In that instant... A raggedy black cat emerges from the bushes and headbutts their hand. They yelp and fall over backwards, and the other three howl with laughter. Ember, gasping, it's Kafifi himself! Rowan, come to bite off all of your other fingers for being such an ass! Briar throws a stick in their general direction, scooting further back as the cat tries to rub against their hand again. Fuck off, you're all the worst! Nocturne leans over to pet it. Ooh, listen to it purr. I'm bringing it home. Briar, no, absolutely not. Ember, it's gonna get fleas all over in your nice fabrics. Nocturne, as the cat settles on their shoulder. Yeah, hey, good point. Here, you carry it. Lights fade out on them bickering over this ridiculous cat. All right. Act 5, Scene 3. The Triumvirate and Company, waiting near the city gates. It's almost sunset. Nyx checks her watch. Malice. Relax, Nyx. They're definitely the type to go cryptid spotting. I assume they'll be back, any minute, probably. Nyx. Yeah, okay. Who do you think will volunteer for the search party if they aren't back by 7? Just, in case. Minerva. Completely off topic. No, not completely off topic. Why'd I write that? Whatever. Minerva. Whose idea was Kafifi, anyway? Ash. The concept or the name? Because I'm pretty sure it was 100% Malice either way. Malice. Hey, no, you fucking decided that we needed a good way to convince the kids to not go wandering around out there after dark. Especially in the beginning, before things calm down a bit. Ash. Yeah, but, I'm in, a rule or an ordinance or, some kind of curfew or something, not a generic spooky child-eating monster. Malice. I did the best I could. Under the circumstances, did you follow the rules as a child, Ash? Ash. But does it actually deter anyone over the age of, 6? We're all in agreement that there's a group out there right now that are actively searching for it, and that's just, business as usual. Malice. It gives the teens something to do with their time. It gives them a sense of purpose, Scylla. Fuck's sake, Mal. Auden. I mean, that's not actually a bad idea. Friendly bickering between them as the lights fade. They all periodically squint out into the encroaching darkness until vaguely teenager-shaped shadows appear in the distance. Ash, wiping his glasses on his sleeve. Is that them out there? I can't see a fucking thing. Nyx, maybe if you'd clean your glasses properly every now and again. Malice, that is them. Ooh, nice. One of them went for a cape. I love it when other people go for capes. What's the point of surviving the apocalypse if you can't embrace a nice dramatic cape? Nyx, that's just impractical, Mal, you fucking idiot. Malice, practicality be damned. Since when has aesthetic been about practicality? close on them bickering, the sun setting behind their shoulders, the kiddos in sight with their giant haul clasped awkwardly in their arms, Nocturne's scraggly cat still perched on their shoulder, and Finn.
Hey everybody, it's me. Before we go for the night, I know this episode is running long, but I've been trying to figure out how to do the outro for this. I didn't want it to be exactly like Sable's, where I ramble on and on for, hours on end, so we're going to try and make this quick. I really loved having our guest Gretchen on this week. If you would like to find her, we're going to have links to her Tumblr page. She was really great. I really enjoyed talking with her. She had a great story. Like I said, this one was kind of hard for me to write for some reason or another. I think that's why it was also so short. But hey, that's kind of the thing with this show. Sometimes the stories are going to be really easy to write. Sometimes they're going to be fucking difficult. So I'll have all the social media accounts for Impromptu Fiction up, which there's only one, so I don't know why I bothered saying that, because we're only on Twitter right now. Thinking about making a Tumblr, but who knows. Guys, if you like this show, please share it with your friends. Leave a rating or a review on iTunes, because that makes our show a lot more visible, and I would really like if more people listen to the show, because I've put a lot of work into it, and it's kind of like the podcast I've been wanting to do since I started getting into making podcasts. So if you could just spread the word. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because it is just reading stories, but I'm hoping that the jokes are enough to sort of bring people in. So yes, if you could leave a review, share it on Twitter, share it on Tumblr, with the tag Impromptu Fiction, just any of that would help a lot with getting the word out there that this show exists and that I think people would really enjoy it. Before we go tonight, just wanted to say that all of the music used in Impromptu Fiction was created by Bensound. And if you would like to check out their website, it's in the show notes below. And if you can't get enough of my voice during your week, which, how could you, am I right? I also do another show called Sable, which is it's an audiobook kind of in podcast form. Some people like to say it's an audio drama. I have kind of like tangentially taken that mantle for the show, but it is more like an audiobook. It's just me reading a story to you that I've been writing for almost 2 years. Holy shit, at this point. We're doing our big Halloween special this year, which if you were a part of the first Halloween special, I think you'll like this one even more. I think that's it for tonight. Next week's episode is going to be with Alexander from In Greater Boston, and I am so excited for that one. Can't wait, guys. We've got a lot of really cool, awesome guests coming on the show, and I can't wait for you to hear them. So this is Lane signing off, telling you to keep writing, write what you love, and most importantly, have fun with it. Peace.